The US dollar has been the world's dominant reserve currency since Bretton Woods Agreement since 1944. In recent years, BRICS nations has explored the ideology of de-dollarization. Can they successfully challenge the dominance of the US dollar? Let's talk about that. But first, we need to look at a post made by Donald Trump on his social media called Truth Social. In the post, he threatened 100% tariffs on the BRICS countries. Let's look at what's going on, right? So on the post he made very recently on November 30th, Donald Trump warned BRICS nations against creating or supporting a new currency to challenge the US dollar. He demanded a commitment from BRICS nations to maintain the US dollar as the global reserve currency. Trump threatened a 100% tariff on countries that attempt to de-dollarize. And he said that the idea that the BRICS countries are trying to move away from the dollar while we stand by and watch is over. Okay, so he's not going to just stand by and watch and let it happen. That's pretty much what he's saying. He's saying we require a commitment from these countries that will neither create a new BRICS currency nor back any other currency to replace the mighty US dollar. The mighty US dollar, else it's going to face a 100% tariff. He said there is no chance that BRICS will replace the US dollar in international trades, and any country that tries to do that will say goodbye to America, right? So this post is pretty much showing that Donald Trump is recognizing the threat of so-called de-dollarization from the BRICS nations. What is BRICS and what is de-dollarization? So BRICS is an acronym for a economic alliance comprising of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. De-dollarization refers to the effort that's aimed at reducing global reliance on US dollar for international trades and finance. So BRICS countries are exploring de-dollarization to increase the economic sovereignty and mitigate the impact of U.S. sanctions, right? Because de-dollarization gained traction in 2022 when the war in Ukraine started, and we saw what happened with U.S. They're able to kick Russia out of the international transaction system, the SWIFT. So why does Donald Trump try to stop the de-dollarization attempts from BRICS? Because having a world dominant currency is a critical factor for a country to dominate the world. Okay, you cannot dominate the world without having a dominant currency. There's economic leverages, right? Because the US dollar's dominance allow the United States to control the international financial system like the SWIFT, and enable it to impose sanctions on countries, right? And it has a reserve currency status. It's the most widely used reserve currency. Around 60% of the foreign reserves of the world is a U.S. dollar, and that's causing a constant demand for the dollar, and also causing a constant demand for American issued bonds, the Treasury bond. When a lot of buyers buy in the bond price goes down. The bond price goes up, causing the yield to go down, which means the government can borrow at a lower cost, a lower interest rate. Okay. And I personally think most importantly, why America wants the dominant dollar is, well, a country with a dominant currency can print money. It's going to be able to print a lot of money without causing significant inflation. Okay, even though after COVID we saw a significant inflation, that's because U.S. printed lots and lots of money. They give money to its people, and it prints lots of money to fund the war in Ukraine. Okay, so because so many countries are holding U.S. dollar as a reserve, the global trade relies heavily on the dollar. The total amount of U.S. dollar in the circulation worldwide, not just in U.S. but worldwide, is enormous. This means that the U.S. as the only country that can print U.S. dollar, right? Because only central bank can do so by doing QE, right? U.S. being the only country that can print this enormous pool of US dollar, print more dollar into the pool of this enormous giant pool of dollars, the country can issue large amount of money without causing inflation. It can print large amount of money as it needs to do things such as funding wars, or stimulate its economy, or even bailing itself out of crisis like the Great Financial Crisis. Well, since Donald Trump is threatening a 100% tariff, how does tariff work? A tariff is a tax on imported goods based on their value. For example, if a country's tariff was 25%, right? When US is importing a car from that country that's worth $50,000, the tariff incurs a $12,500 charge. That's the tariff. But the tariff is not directly paid by the exporting foreign company. The importing company inside the US is going to pay for the tariff to the US government. So to maintain a profitability, the importing company, they often have to pass the extra cost or extra expense onto the customer by raising retail prices, right? So essentially, Donald Trump is saying, if a BRICS nation is going to promote de-dollarization, the US is going to impose a tariff on you. That's going to make direct access to US dollars through trades with US much harder for that country, creating pressure on that country due to the dollar's central role on the global trades, right? Because it's harder for them to get dollars through this way. It's gonna be harder for them to trade globally with other countries because every country uses dollars to trade. While the alternative methods to acquire dollar do exist, they often are less efficient and comes with challenges. Well, the 100% tariff is a very strong deterrent, but is it actually possible? Is it actually possible right now for the BRICS countries to find a new world-dominant currency to replace the dollar? That's the question. It's going to be very challenging right now because the infrastructure that backs the dollar, such as the cross-border payment system, will likely give U.S. currency a decisive edge over for decades to come. For example, the SWIFT, okay, and even the infrastructure that at the consumer level, such as Visa and Mastercard, okay, they all these infrastructures are going to support the continued dominance of the dollar. I can give you an example. In October 2024, okay, the latest BRICS meeting hosted in Russia by President Putin, who wants to replace dollar the most, okay? The organizer of the BRICS meeting encouraged all attendees to bring US dollars or euros with them to Russia, as non-Russia MasterCard and Visa card do not work in the country. That just tells you still how important US dollar is even among the people who attend the BRICS meeting, okay? And according to some sources, the BRICS essentially currently have three options to bypass the dollar or replace the dollar in cross-border payments. We have they can use local currencies to trade. They can create a new digital currency, or they simply use Chinese yuan to do the trades. Some local currency settlement has already been done. For instance, in August 2023, China, Brazil completed their first trade transaction entirely using local currency. But it's just a small transaction, a small fraction of their total trade volumes. Similarly, India traded with Russia on energy, right? On energy products in local currencies, but it's not a widespread phenomenon. So local currency settlement is typically costly due to the low liquidity and lack of established financial infrastructure for direct currency exchange. So it's going to be very difficult for them to completely use local currency to do all their trades. Well, the other option is a decentralized digital currency. So BRICS has talked about making a decentralized digital currency, maybe like a cryptocurrency. And they have also talked about a decentralized payment system called BRICS Pay, which was initiated in 2018, but it's been showcased many times, but still under development. They're trying to find different ways, different methods to bypass the dependency on the SWIFT. However, a decentralized digital currency could be too volatile and generally lacks enough liquidity to handle major trade flows. Now, the third option is using yuan, right? For yuan, the Chinese government does want it to be internationalized, but the problem is it does not want the exchange rate to fluctuate fully. So China deploys a managed floating exchange rate system to control the value of the currency. So essentially, against other major currencies, so essentially China controls the inflow and outflow of the yuan to control the fluctuation of the exchange rate. So that's a problem. Usually to have a world dominant currency, you want to have a lot of trading volume. You want people to trade it. You want people to be interested in it. You want minimal government intervention. Okay, so that's a problem with using yuan as a solution. And there's also the outstanding question of whether in a crisis, China would be willing to pump unlimited amount of yuan outside of its economy. So are they willing to print money? And how much are they willing to print? Even though it's going to be very challenging, one concrete step they're taking is buying more gold, which currently only makes up about 10% of their foreign reserves. BRICS collectively hold 6,200 tons of gold, representing 21.4% of world's total reserve. As a comparison, US have 8,133 tons of gold. Russia leads the BRICS nation with 2,340 tons, followed by China with 2,260 tons. Brazil's gold reserves increased threefold between 2018 and 2024. Shifting reserves from dollar to gold weakens the total demand from the world for dollar, and strengthens the foundation for potentially creating a gold-backed currency. But the amount of gold the BRICS nation have right now is still far from sufficient to fully back a new currency. So I think for the next decade or two, US dollar is very safe. Thank you.